Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving on to Module 1, Lesson 9. And today we're going to continue to round numbers to any place value. But today you actually have to do a little more mental math. We are not going to use the vertical number line in the video. However, the vertical number line is a wonderful tool to use. And if you feel like you're still struggling when it comes to the problem set, you can always find a place on the problem set or grab scrap paper and draw your vertical number line. Sorry, the girls are out on their Power Wheels and you can probably hear that in the background. Oh, and Mr. Mills on the four-wheeler. Anyways, we're going to try and stay focused here. So even if you're out and about and you're trying to round a number, again, if you have scrap paper, you can draw that vertical number line. But today we're kind of just going to imagine the vertical number line and round that way. I'm also going to teach you a little strategy on how to round without using the vertical number line. Here we go. So we have three numbers here. We're going to work with one at a time. We're going to start with 4,333 and we're going to round it to the nearest thousand. That's why it's underlined red. So you should already be asking yourselves, if I were to create a vertical number line and I'm rounding to the nearest thousand, I would ask myself, how many thousands are there? There are 4 thousands. One more thousand would be 5 thousands. And halfway between 4,000 and 5,000 would be 4,500. Now the trick is to just look to the right there. 4,500 would be my midpoint. 500 would be my midpoint. And 300 is less than 500. And if something is less than our midpoint, we're going to round it down and keep it the same. So we're going to round down to 4,000. Now, some kids, when they go from the vertical number line to imagining that vertical number line, when they think about that round down strategy, sometimes they would say, oh, this will round down to 3,000. And they take that 4 and they subtract 1. But we don't subtract 1. We just round it. We keep it down at that 4,000. A little strategy that we'll put up in the classroom is if it's 5 or above, you're going to give it a shove up to that next 1,000. But if it's 4 or below, you're going to keep it down low. Keep it down low at that 4,000. And because this number is 4 or below, it's below the midway point, which is 5, we're going to keep it down low at 4,000. So 4,333 is about 4,000. Okay, next one. Again, we're going to round to the nearest thousands. Now, we can't just say there's only 8 thousands because there's a number to the left of it. So there's really 18,000. So we have to think of this whole number right here. So we have 18 thousands. One more thousand would be 19,000. Okay, I know for sake I said we weren't going to draw a vertical number line, but I think I'm just going to throw it on here real quick. So we have 18,000. We have 19,000 would be our top number. And then in between, halfway between those would be 18,500. So again, we're going to take this 18,000 and look at that number to the right. Would 753 fall above our midpoint or below? Visualizing that number line, 753 is going to fall above our midpoint. It's going to be 18,753. So that little rhyme, 5 or above, give it a shove. We have a 7, so that 7 is going to give our 18,000 a shove up to 19,000. 18,753 is about 19,000. Okay. We're going to round 346,560 to the nearest thousand. So again, we have a 6 in the thousands place, but we can't just say that we're going to round it to 6,000 or 7,000 because that is nowhere near 346,560. So we have 346 thousandths, one more thousand. So we have to add 1 to our thousands place. 346 plus 1 would be 347. So we would have 346 thousandths, 347 thousandths with a midpoint of 346,500. What we can do again is use that little strategy of looking to the right. Our midpoint would be 500. Well, we happen to have a 5 in the hundreds place. So we learned that if it was a 5 or above, that 5 tells this number to give it a shove up to the next 1,000. So we would have 340, 6 plus 1 is 7,000. The rest become zeros. If we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, all the rest of the numbers to the right become zeros. You'll notice that right here. Okay? All right, this time we are going to be rounding to the nearest 10,000ths. Nearest 10,000ths. So we have 6 10,000ths. So picturing that vertical number line, we would have 6 10,000. 6 plus 1 is 7 10,000. So we'd have 60,000 and 70,000 with a midpoint of 65,000. So we can simply just look to the right of our 10,000ths place and we have a 5. That 5 tells us right away that our 10,000ths place needs to be shoved to the next 10,000. So 6 plus 1 more 10,000 would be 7 10,000ths, which is 70,000. 65,600 is about 70,000. Okay, on to my next 6-digit number. 548,253. Rounded to the nearest 10,000. Now we can't just focus on the 10,000ths place. You have to focus on everything before that place. So we really have 54 10,000ths. So we would have 54. I'm just going to throw a vertical number line up here for some of you people that are still visual and you need to see it. We have 54 10,000ths, or 540,000. One more 10,000, so we would take 54 plus 1 would be 55. So we have 550,000, or 55 10,000ths, because that is the 10,000ths place. Halfway between that would be 54, and you slip a 5 to the right, so it'll be 545,000. Now, because this 4 is in the 10,000ths place, we can use that little trick. Look to the right. If that number to the right, which is, we know 5,000 would be our midpoint, 5 or above, we're going to give that 10,000ths place a shove up to the next 10,000. So 548,253 would round up to 550,000. If you thought about where that goes on the number line, 548 would fall about right here. 548,253. And you can already tell using that number line that it's much closer to our 550,000. Okay. This last one, we're going to work with the same exact number, but round it to different place values each time. And you're going to notice that our numbers will change depending on what number they're asking us to round to. So we're going to start with the 100,000ths place. So I have 147,591. We have 100,000. One more 100,000 would be 200,000. And falling right in the middle of those would be 150,000. We look to the right of the digit that we're rounding, and it's a 4. 5 or above, give my digit that I'm rounding a shove up to the next number. If it's 4 or below a 4, 3, 2, or 1, we're going to keep it down low. Well, it's a 4, which means that my 100,000 is going to stay the same. We're going to keep it down low. So we're going to keep it at a 1, and the rest of the digits become zeros. So 147,591 is about 100,000. Okay, let's change it up. Now we're going to round to the 10,000s place. I have 4 in my 10,000s, but I can't forget about all the numbers before it. So I have 14 10,000s. I'm going to look to the right of my 10,000s place, and it's a 7. On my vertical number line, my midpoint would be 145,000. So because this 7 is above my midpoint, it's above 145,000, I'm going to give my 10,000s place a shove. 5 or above, if this number to the right is 5 or above, give my digit that I'm rounding a shove. So 14 plus 1 would be 15 10,000s, or 150,000. If you think about that, 47 would round up to 50 because it's above 45. 40 and 50, halfway between would be 45. 47 is above 45, so it's going to round up to 50, 150,000. All right, next one, we are rounding to the nearest thousands place. We're moving our way down. But I don't just have 7,000s, I have 147,000s. 147,000 plus one more would be 148,000. Falling in the middle would be 147,500. So we're going to look to the right here. This 5 is going to tell that thousands place what to do. 591 is above our midway point. 500 would be our midway point. And if it's a 5 or above, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it's going to tell my thousands place what to do. 5 or above, it's above the midpoint, we give it a shove. 147 plus 1 would be 148,000 because we're working with the thousands right now. So notice how our numbers change depending on what we round to. Here we have 100,000. Here we have 150,000. Here we have 148,000. What would be the most accurate? So if I said in my bank account, yeah, I wish, I had $147,500. Let me say that again. I have $147,591. Would it be more accurate for me to say that I had $100,000 in my account? Or would it be more accurate to say I had $148,000 in my account? And hopefully you're saying it would be more accurate to say that I have $148,000 in my account, because that's a lot closer to 147,591. So the closer you get to your ones place when you're rounding, the more accurate those estimates are. The higher up that you get, the less accurate. Because if I say that 147,000 is close to 100,000, I'm missing this whole chunk right here. And $47,000 is a lot of money. So the closer you get to the ones, the more accurate your estimations, your roundings are. All right, now we're going to round to the nearest hundreds. But we can't forget about all these numbers out to the left. So technically I have 147,500. Now, if I were to place that on the vertical number line, I would have 147,500 on the bottom and 147,600 above that. Falling directly in between would be 147,050. Now again, the number to the right of the number that we're rounding will tell that hundreds place what to do. If it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we give it a shove. We give that number that we're rounding a shove. The rest stay the same. 147, but that 5 is going to become a 6, and the other two numbers will become a 0 because we're only working with the hundreds place there. And if you were to just completely pretend this wasn't here and you were rounding the number 591, wouldn't that round up to 600? 591 is really close to 600. So sometimes it's easier to just pretend those numbers aren't there just for your brain, but remember that they can't completely go away. Last but not least, we're going to get our most accurate assessment by rounding to the tens place. So we have 9 in the tens place. That 9 is a 5 or above. It's going to be, my number would be 0, a 5. My halfway point would be 50 or 100. That 9 is going to tell that 5 to bump up. Oh, sorry. My bad. Since we're rounding that 9, this 1 is going to tell the 9 what to do. I was trying to do the hundreds again. So the rest of the numbers stay the same. We have 147,500, and that 1 is going to tell the 9 what to do. So we would have 90, 95, and 100. So 91 would stay down low. It's a 4 or below. It's a 4, 3, 2, or 1. We keep it down low. So that 9 is going to stay the same. But the ones place is going to become a 0. 147,590. That is the closest we will get. All right, guys, I know this video took a long time today, but I think you've got this down. Go ahead and get started on your problem set.